Shalom. Salakia. Shalom. Giving all honor, praises, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Wakak, Wadash, Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Barakatah Yashallah, Barakatah Yahweh. Again, we're going to say, call Allah Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, and give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who teach and were well, who are overseeing the construction of the tabernacle of David, a more perfect tabernacle. Shalom to the Akim, Wa'akwaf scattered abroad, and Shalom to the sincere believers. Going to start off with Habakkuk, chapter 1, verse 1. It says, the burden which Habakkuk, the prophet, did see, says, O Yahweh, how long shall I cry, and thou wilt not hear, even cry out unto thee of violence, and thou wilt not save? Why dost thou shew in me iniquity, and cause me to behold grievance? For spoiling and violence are before me, and there are that rise up strife and contention. It says, therefore the law is slacked, and judgment doth never go forth. For the wicked doth compass about the righteous, therefore wrong judgment proceedeth, man. Behold ye among the heathen, and regard, and wonder marvelously, for I will work a work in your days, which you would not believe, though it be told you. But the ultimate point was Habakkuk 1:4. It says, therefore the law is slacked, and judgment doth never go forth, for the wicked doth compass about the righteous, therefore wrong judgment proceedeth. And let's get that scripture. Some Proverbs. It's lucky. This is Proverbs 12:5. It says, the thoughts of the righteous are right, but the counsels of the wicked are deceit. The words of the wicked are to lie in wait for blood, but the mouth of the upright shall deliver them. Meaning, the words of the wicked, man, the in the book of Isaiah, right, grievousness that they have prescribed. This Isaiah 10:1 says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that right grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless, man. That's all the tenets, the attributes, the characteristics of Esau Edom, man. They're very sly, man. That goes back to the Psalms. Psalm 50, it's either 55 or 50. Psalms 55:21 says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war in it was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords, man. And that's how, like it says in Revelations 20, that they were Satan was loose from the basically his prison, so that he would deceive the earth again, man. And that's how they did it, man, through words, through images, through icons, through mass deception, through infiltration, perverseness, through coup d'etats, deception, propaganda. Basically, that grievance that they prescribe, man. Esau Edom is a master manipulator, man. He's a snake, man. And where's the power in a snake, man? For the most part, the power of a snake lies in his mouth, man. But you do have some snakes, like the boa constrictor, who their power is in their ability to constrain you, man, restrict you. And that's again another characteristic of Esau Edom, man. Both attributes of the snake, whether they be the boa constrictor, or whether they be whether they be the boa constrictor, or whether it be something like a king cobra, man. the powers in their ability to constrict. And once they get you locked into their propaganda, their deceptions, their lies, that's when the venom starts to seep in, and what, you're corrupted. It's like it. Give me a quick moment. Something weird just happened. Oh, I'm back. So I wanted to make that starting point to go to this, man. And oftentimes, sometimes in some movies, this comes out a lot, but there's a phraseology and there's this kind of idea that's known as, and let's go to commercial break. Let's cut to the commercial. Which here in the Urban Dictionary, this phrase is to what? When it says let's cut to commercial. And I'm not saying, when they do this on TV all the time, or when, watching the show or watching the news and they say let's cut to commercial, this is what they mean. But, it's in certain instances, this is what they mean. Let's cut to commercial. It says to promptly end a ridiculous conversation and or quickly move into another topic in the middle of a conversation. And the reason why I brought this out is because that's one of the tactics that you see, in comedy, or as one of the phraseologies that's used to what? When truth is coming out, or when there is something being brought out that is supposed to be suppressed to the public, man. What do they do, man? They say, let's cut to commercial, man. That's the spirit of deflection. And that's ultimately the point of the lesson, man. Let's cut to commercial, a.k.a. the spirit of deflection, man. Because you see it all the time in movies when something is not going according to the script that was given, because that's what happens throughout all television. There's a script, man. There's a teleprompter. There's a set standard that's supposed to be followed for that show, man. And when something is going off, or something just, when people don't stick to the script, man, let's cut to commercial and hear commercial break. You know what I'm saying? And they do it all the time in like these kind of apocalyptic, kind of bug out movies, when something like they're bringing something out and somebody comes out on the TV or whatever, and then they start just, and we're all gonna die, blah, blah, blah. Start exposing shit, and they're like, well, let's cut the commercial. And there's this happy-go-lucky scene with people walking in the park with their dogs or some shit like that. And that's what, man? That's a spirit of suppression and deflection, man. Esau Edom is the mastermind of doing all that, all that thing. That's what does the scripture say? Let's go to I think it's Micah 2:1. I don't think I have to look that up. Micah 2:1, it says, let's see, what's that word for covet? That might be what I want. Like covet. Titus 1:11 says, 1:10, it says, for there are many unruly and vain talkers and deceivers, especially they of the circumcision. And now, although this scripture is focusing primarily on, like it says, the circumcisions, which are the Israelites who are supposed to be in the know, but it also leaves a little leeway in there for what? Esau, Edom, and Edom, because it says, for there are many unruly and vain talkers and deceivers, especially, you know what I'm saying? It just goes more further in depth. It says, especially they are of the circumcision, whose mouths must be stopped, who subvert whole houses, teaching things which they ought not, for filthy lucre's sake. And again, although this is primarily talking about the heathen, and although this is primarily talking about the Israelites, the wicked Israelites. Slacking for that. Because the scripture do say, among my people are found wicked men. There are a lot of wicked Israelites, but it still can be applied to Esau, Edom, and the heathen, man, because that's what they do the best, man. And ultimately, this is where the Israelites learned it from. Esau, Edom, and the heathen, man. That's why the scriptures say in I think it's John 8:44. You of your father, your devil. Let's just get that scripture real quick, and then another scripture. And then we'll jump back into the point. John 8:44. It says, "Ye are of your fathers, ye of all your father the devil, and the lust of your father you would do. He was a murderer from the beginning, and abode not in the truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaketh a lie, he speaketh on his own, for he's a liar and the father of it," man. Talking about who? Esau, Edom, man, the wicked, who is the physical counterpart of the spiritual demon Satan, man. And that's where all you Israelites, you wicked Israelites, learn your behavior from. Esau, Edom, man. Following after these heathen nations. That's why the scripture told us not to do it. Because through their philosophies, ideologies, terminologies, and vernaculars, you will be corrupted, man. It's 100%. Well, not 100%. If the Spirit of the Lord is not protecting you, you will be corrupted, man. So jumping back to Titus 1:10, it says, "For there are many unruly and vain talkers and deceivers, especially they of the circumcision, whose mouths must be stopped, who subvert whole houses, teaching things which they are not, for filthy lucre's sake." And what does it mean to subvert?
Strong's G396. Anatrepto.
And it says to overthrow, overturn, destroy, to subvert, man. Let me get a definition from online. Subvert, undermine the power and authority of an established system or institution, man. And that's what Esau Edom is known for, man. Primarily through what? Propaganda, terminology, doctrines, ordinances.
Coup d'etat.
Says coup d'etat, originally of the French, literally blow of state, a sudden and violent illegal seizure of power from a government, a notable or successful stroke or move, man. Historically, blah blah blah. But yeah, a coup d'etat, or otherwise known as a coup, is a sudden and violent takeover of an established authority, man. And Esau Edom is known for that, man. They financially back, also financially, logistically, sometimes even physically back of the sudden overthrow of certain quote unquote communist countries and certain. Basically, man, if you're not doing what Esau Edom wants you to do, and your land, your homeland, or a land that's not his, that's Micah 2:1, they're gonna subvert it, man. They're gonna subvert it from you, man, through doctrine, propaganda, any way they can, man. That's what Esau Edom is, man. He's the devil that the Bible speaks of, man. That John 10:10, because the thief cometh not. It's like the thief cometh not, but to steal, kill, and destroy, man. And who has a track record of doing that? And not only a track record. If we would rank all the nations on a scale from maybe like the top 5 nations who still kill and destroy, man, Esau Edom would be number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But it originally goes back to my point of what, man? Slaki, where is it? Says, let's cut to commercial to promptly end a ridiculous conversation or quickly move into another topic in the middle of a conversation, man. And that's how Esau Edom has successfully not only conquered the whole earth, but conquered the minds of the people of the whole earth, man, through the suppression of logic, facts, and just pure truth, man. We live in a world where it's crazy how everything that's quote unquote logical, factual, and what is quote unquote known to be true has been decided by the Esau Edom, man. It's crazy because your oppressor is the same person who basically is teaching you everything, man. You grew up in the education system of your oppressor. You eat his food, you buy his clothing. You, like the scriptures say, you go to him for the one of all things. Anything that you think of, you have to go to Esau Edom for it, man. So it's not amazing, but it stands to reason that just maybe looking at their track record and everything they have done, it would stand to reason that maybe the things that they taught you is lies and not profitable for you, man. Not what you're supposed to be actually be learning. And it's crazy, man, because we live in the quote-unquote information age, but even still in the information age, there's what? A lot of misinformation. And that's how Esau Edom, he controls both sides, man. He gives you quote-unquote misinformation and quote-unquote information. And the misinformation is the information, and the information is the misinformation. Which just leads you down this rabbit hole of confusion, man. And then when somebody kind of just is able to wake up and spit the meat from the bones and they talk about it, what happens? They're silenced, man. They're silenced, and we cut the commercial break. And there's a long history of that. These quote-unquote black leaders that stood up and all these black movements, and not even that, man, just globally, man. There's a historicity of Esau Edom silencing people who speak out against his regularly scheduled program. And that's where the prophet of the Lord come in. It's like the prophet of prophecy, Yahweh Shema Shai, come in at this time and period. Because why? You're not going to be able to silence us, man, unless the Spirit of the Lord allows you to. And even still, this truth has gone out, man. Your mission has failed, man. It's the suppression, the infiltration, the subversion of the truth of Yahweh Shema Shai, Esau Edom. Your mission has failed, man. Because the scriptures say that the words of the Lord don't go out void. He already prophesied in his word that this gospel shall be preached unto all nations, and then shall the end come. So that's what's going to happen, and that's what's happening right before your eyes, Esau Edom. And not only that, 2/3 of Israelites in the heathen of the world. So again, man, your exaltation of vocab Malone and all these other Christianity pseudo theologians, they're sending them against the truth. Failed. The Bible Destruction Group failed. Christianity failed. Islam failed. Everything that you sent up against this truth, man, has failed, man. It's gonna fail. Cause what? What does Acts say? Acts 5. Acts 5:38. And now I say unto you, refrain from these men and let them alone. For this counsel or this work be of men, it will come to naught. But if it be of Yahweh Shema Shai, you cannot overthrow it. At least happily you be found even to fight against Yahweh Shema Shai, man. And that's a you don't want to pick that fight. You're gonna lose every time. Drastically, man. You're gonna get destroyed violently, man, messing with Yahweh Shema Shai. And that's why what? The judgment of America is so violent. That's the scriptures say, man, this place is drunken with the blood of the saints, man. Esau Edom, man, you have a lot to pay for. And that's why the scriptures say dust with violence is that city was thrown down, man. But I just wanted to go into that quickly, man. And again, just to kind of recap the point, man, let's go back. Let's cut to commercial to promptly end a ridiculous conversation and or quickly move into another topic in the middle of conversation, which is the spirit of deflection, man. So we're going to go ahead and close it out. Just a quick little lesson, something that kind of came to my head. Ecclesiastes 12:13. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Yahweh Shema Shai and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For Yahweh Shema Shai shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil. With that being said, Halawayah.